us are having so many crazy dreams these days.
In 2015, a mystery began around the area of Portland, Oregon. A mystery surrounding a survey that wanted to know about our dreams. A mystery that now, 5 years later, has started again.
Please leave a detailed description of your dream at the tone.
It was around April when the flyers started to appear. They were posted on signs, bulletin boards, and telephone poles. They were glanced over by many, but for the few who stopped to read them, they were left genuinely creeped out. The flyers read, "Have you been having strange dreams? The Willamette Valley Dream Survey is investigating a recent spike in bizarre, unexplainable dreams. If you have been experiencing any unusual dream activity, you can help by reporting a summary. Please call with a description of your dream." No further information was provided, except for a phone number. There was just something about it. It's such a strange request, and it's all so vague. Who's behind this? Why do they want to know about my dreams? And was there truly a spike in unexplainable dreams? As it turns out, the answers to these questions wouldn't be easy to find. Upon reading the posted flyers, many searched online for any information about the survey because something about it just didn't seem right. And if you were going to share your personal dreams, you'd likely want to know who's on the other end of the line. But nothing turned up. Google searches for the Willamette Valley Dream Survey failed to turn up any results, and no one in the area had any idea what this was all about. There was seemingly no trace of the survey, except for on these flyers.
This is a Channel 2 news brief.
Around this time, a few local news sites picked up on the story, with one actually tracking the origin of the telephone number. Strangely, the number had previously been affiliated with a German language immersion program that was based in Oregon, but upon contacting the program, the school director said that the number was no longer in use by them, and that they weren't affiliated with the survey whatsoever. So who exactly that phone number belongs to was still left a mystery. But there was one more big discovery that this article made. There's all this intrigue around this survey, but did anyone actually try and call? And does the phone number even work? Well, according to this article, it actually did. When you call the number, the phone rings for a few seconds before an automated female voice eventually answers. The robotic voice says,
Thank you for calling the Willamette Valley Dream Survey. Please leave a detailed account of your dream after the tone. Transcripts or audio from your report may be duplicated in other media.
After this, a tone played, and there was nothing but silence. No further information, just silence. Upon telling your dream to this number, you hang up, and that's the end of that. No one heard back from whoever was behind this survey. No one got a follow-up text. They simply now had your dream, and that was that. But all this shows us something very important. That whoever is behind this put in serious effort to set up this automated messaging system, and that the phone number is in fact real and operational. This shows me that this wasn't just a hoax that someone quickly pulled together to maybe creep some people out. Either this was some sort of elaborate, well-thought-out ARG, or it was actually real. Aside from the Oregon Live article, this case gained its most exposure when it was brought to Reddit. Perhaps in an attempt to find answers, a Redditor by the name of Marcus Yallo snapped a picture of one of the flyers on a telephone pole. This gave the mystery national recognition, with people all over the country being captivated by this off-putting flyer. However, scrolling through this thread, it doesn't appear to have brought forth any actual answers, But there is a reason that I mention this post, and that's because some of the comments. The majority of the comments left behind on this thread consist of people saying that they actually had been having some strange dreams that week, with many stating that they were the strangest of their lives. One person wrote, "I have had 2 dreams that I can remember in my entire life before this week. This week, I've had so many that I've woken up in a full panicked sweat, believing that they were real. Very vivid, very strange, and very real. Something is going on, either in the water or the air." Perhaps this was just a strange coincidence, but maybe there actually was some type of increase in unexplainable dreams. But how could it be possible? Despite the interest that this case gained in 2015, its popularity soon died down. There was never any real progress made on solving this mystery, and many just gave up on it altogether. We knew that the number worked, and we knew that people really were having strange dreams, but we knew nothing else. The mystery lived on, but the intrigue didn't. But the Dream Survey would eventually appear again, only this time, it would come with a darker twist. On April 30th, 2020, a post was made on Reddit with the title, "Saw this strange poster this morning in Utah. Anyone know anything about this?" The post was accompanied by a photo of a flyer taped onto a sign. The flyer read, "Have you been having strange dreams? The Happy Valley Dream Survey is investigating a recent spike in bizarre, unexplainable dreams. If you have been experiencing any unusual dream activity, you can help by reporting a summary. Please contact and leave a description of your dream." And just like that, the mystery was back again. Now this bears an obvious resemblance to the flyer for the Willamette Valley Dream Survey, except this time it was called the Happy Valley Dream Survey. And rather than being located in Oregon, this flyer was posted in Utah. And for context reasons, I should point out that Happy Valley is the nickname for that specific location in Utah, and Willamette Valley was the nickname for the location that the Oregon flyers were found. Another slight variation is that the most recent flyer included an email address, and the phone numbers were different despite it seemingly coming from the same person or group. But other than that, the similarities are obvious, and much like the Willamette Valley Dream Survey, it also has a working phone number. The day the story broke, a YouTube account by the name of One Regit actually called the number and recorded the entire thing.
Please leave a detailed description of your dream at the tone.
Last night... Whoa, there's like feedback.
Almost immediately after the robotic voice finishes its message, feedback can be heard on the other end of the line.
Last night...
Feedback that likely indicates that someone was listening in. So someone from the survey likely entered this phone call and was listening as he was speaking. Those who called this number claimed that immediately following the phone call, they received a text thanking them for their participation in the survey. Due to how quickly everyone received this text and the fact that it was sent to seemingly everyone who called, it appears to be some sort of automated text. This again shows just how much work must have gone into this if it were in fact fake. But this wasn't the end of it. Those who called also reported that they received a call back from the number, calls that would happen at random hours of the night. The phone would only ring for a few seconds and then quickly hang up, making it all but impossible to answer it on time. Now, much like the original Willamette Valley Dream Survey, there doesn't seem to be any real conclusions on what this survey really is. Some believe that there truly has been an increase in strange dreams, which a quick Google search actually reveals to be true, thanks to the current pandemic.
Causing some to have sleepless nights, others are in fact experiencing the very opposite, more vivid dreams.
Because of this, some people think that this is actually being done by scientists to gather data, but I do have my doubts about that. Why would the survey be so ominous and so vague? Plus, why would they need to know the specifics? Others think that this could be a group investigating similar dreams that we are all collectively having, which would indicate that something like the man is happening again, only this time it's real. But what would they want to know about our specific dreams? Why would that be important? What could they signify? What could they mean? That's something that we'll get to in a minute, but there's something we have to cover first. Because with every mystery, there are twists and turns. And for the Happy Valley Dream Survey, the biggest were yet to come. On Reddit, users AliensDid9LL and 1Reddit were seemingly leading this whole investigation and were incredibly active in trying to figure things out. Others were chiming in here and there with bits of information, but these two were clearly in it the deepest. On the original post, 1Reddit had mentioned how he was feeling uneasy about everything, and he was beginning to get worried about what he had gotten himself into. At the time, this was something that did concern me, but ultimately, I didn't think too much of it. But after I had initially recorded this entire video, I woke up the next day to discover that both of these users had disappeared from Reddit. Not just in the sense that they were unactive, but their actual accounts had been deleted. Along with this, the video that 1Reddit had posted that showed his phone call with the Dream Survey was gone too. So now the question is, what happened to them? Well, it's possible that these two ventured too deep within this rabbit hole, and they found out the truth behind this incredibly secretive survey, and they discovered something that they weren't supposed to see. Maybe they panicked and they deleted their accounts in a desperate attempt to distance themselves from the situation. Maybe what they found really was that bad. After their disappearance, multiple posts were made questioning their whereabouts from people who were genuinely invested in this mystery, and also for those who were just worried about the two. But the people who made these posts were met with threatening messages from anonymous users. Some of these threats were, "Trust me about the dream studies. Don't look into it any further." 1Reddit and AliensDid9LL deleted their accounts on purpose. This is not a marketing scam. It goes deeper than you think. And this is not a marketing scam. Don't make the same mistakes I did. So how deep does this all go? What could this survey be hiding that's so secretive? Well, sometimes the only way to solve a mystery is to jump down the rabbit hole. I wanted to call the number for the Happy Valley Dream Survey, but for multiple reasons, I didn't want to use my own phone. Really out here about to buy a burner phone. I don't think I've ever been this sketchy in my life. We got the goods. I sat down with my brother Patrick and my girlfriend Mariah to make the phone call, because oddly enough, they both had had strange dreams during my process of making this video. Here you go.
Please leave a detailed description of your dream at the tone.
So I woke up with my brother in this weird indoor resort kind of place that was really run down, and this one guy yelled at me hey, how you doing? I was like, oh, good. And I turned to keep following my brother Nick, and he's sprinting away. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I better run too. And while I'm running, this guy catches up to me almost immediately. He knocks me over and starts dragging me away, and I'm kicking and screaming. He's telling me all these horrible things, he's gonna cut me up and take me back to him and his buddies, and for years they're gonna have their way with me, and all this horrible stuff. And I completely recognize him for some reason, and it was Rob Lowe. So I don't know why.
Immediately after our phone call had ended, I received a text from a number thanking me for my participation. Okay, but right after we hung up, we got a text message. This confirmed to me that these initial messages were in fact automated. Though I still wasn't sure if the Willamette Valley Dream Survey was connected to any of this, I still wanted to try calling just to see if anything would come from it. We don't even know if this phone number is active. That's the craziest part.
Thank you for calling the Willamette Valley Dream Survey. Please leave a detailed account of your dream after the tone. Transcripts or audio from your report may be duplicated in other media.
So last night I had a really horrifying dream about me and my boyfriend. He started like pushing me under the water and I couldn't breathe. In my dream, I just felt like I couldn't breathe and that my lungs were filling up with water. The dream ended abruptly when my boyfriend woke me up.
So I was the hero and the villain of that story, I guess. Wow. With both phone calls made, I decided to text the Happy Valley number to see if I could provoke a response. Initially, I texted the number asking who runs this, along with a few other texts to try and get their attention. That night, I heard nothing back. But the following afternoon, I received my first response. The number simply responded, Happy Valley Dream Survey, and nothing else. Immediately, I followed up by asking, what is this for? After half an hour, I received another text. I'm sorry my responses are limited. You must ask the right question. Within minutes, I responded by asking, are you a real person? But I heard nothing back. And the next morning, I began growing increasingly desperate. As a Hail Mary attempt, I asked, what is the right question? But as the day neared an end, I couldn't help but think that I had reached a dead end. That was until, out of the blue, 9 hours after my previous text, my phone buzzed. 2 consecutive texts were sent. The first reading, that is the right question, with the follow-up being, 9 goes, 5 jit. Immediately I started trying to make sense of it. I plugged the phrase into Google, but nothing but gibberish came up. I typed the individual words into Google Translate, but again, I got nothing. I knew the phrase wasn't likely just gibberish. It had to mean something, but I wasn't sure if I would be able to crack it. And that's when I got a break. Looking up 9go, I found an obscure site that translated the phrase into Creole Haitian, but that site showed its translation to French as septanum, and septanum translated to English meant September. So 9go translates to September. So September 5 jit was what we were left with, which is all that I needed to know. It all made sense. Currently on Reddit, there is a growing movement from what many claim to be a cult. A cult named 5 September 2020. This cult believes that some type of apocalyptic event is going to unfold on September 5th, an event that's going to be carried out by some secretive organization. And quickly scrolling through this sub, it appears that dreams are deeply rooted within this cult's mythology. Some posts even suggest that dreams could be the secret to surviving this impending disaster. So maybe the cult set this survey up for research purposes. Or maybe they think that our dreams could actually be visions of the end of the world, and they're investigating mass dreams that our population has been experiencing lately. So it appears that the Happy Valley Dream Survey may have actually been set up by a cult as research for the end of the world. Now there are still a few questions left over, but one of the most important questions out of all this is, what happened to the 2 Redditors? Well, perhaps they found the same information that I did, and the 5 September group came after them. Or maybe they were working with the group the entire time, and their disappearance was a stunt to draw more people to the movement. And what about the original Willamette Valley survey? Well, as I got deeper within this mystery, I actually started to believe more and more that these 2 cases are separate. But I discovered something just hours before I was about to post this video. it appears that there was a similar group on Reddit to the September 5th cult that was afraid the world would end back in 2015. And though I don't know much about that group, it appears that they were also having dreams and visions of the end of the world. The group's name was April 30th, 2015, which also happens to be the exact day that the flyers were first found in Portland, Oregon. So it's all very likely that both of these surveys were set up by Doomsday cults.